Anatolij has crossed the state from the Kansas City area to present for us this morning, so that's exciting. And so let's give him a nice St. Louis warm St. Louis welcome. Anatolij with FastDemocracy.com. He's going to tell us what he is up to.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming out at this early hour, and so many people here. I'm really overwhelmed. So my name is Anatolij, and I'm the founder of FastDemocracy.com. And maybe some of you have encountered this problem. Keeping track of state legislation can be a full-time job. So in Missouri alone this year, roughly 2,000 bills have been introduced. And out of them, 300 were of a controversial nature, 300, 400, something along those lines. So we are talking about topics like abortion, immigration, minimum wage, things like these. And yes, these bills where you would have an opinion on and where many of you would be interested in, but you can't possibly keep track of those hundreds of bills that are there and know what to do. And often the general public learns about controversial legislation when this controversial legislation is about to pass, when it's about to be signed by the governor, for example, or about to get out of the Senate. And if you really want to effect change, then you need to know what to do and when to do it. When is an event coming up that you need to attend? When do you need to call your representative? When do you need to call committee members? And let me show you how this currently works. So this is a screenshot of the Missouri House website. Say you're interested in the topic of gun control. You need to know that the keyword for that is firearms. If you type in guns, you won't get that much out of it. And then you'll see bills on the topic of firearms. And you write it down, you put it into one of your spreadsheets or something like that. The problem is that a couple days after, maybe a week after, you'll need to repeat this whole process, because by then new bills will have been introduced. Some bills that you didn't care about might have been amended, and now you need to look again what those bills are about right now. And then bills just in general move along the process. So there might be a committee hearing that is scheduled for this week, and you need to know about it. So needless to say that lobbyists don't typically use the Missouri Senate and House website to stay updated on legislation. And with FastDemocracy.com we wanted to create a tool that is modeled after lobbyist websites, but it's completely free, and it helps you keep up with state legislation and take action. Let me do a quick demonstration what I'm talking about. So first, let's find out who our representatives are. So we are at the T-Rex building. There we go. Let's find out who is representing us and who the senators are. So here it's Bruce Franks and Jamal Nasheed, and here you can see their districts and how they are formed. And then let's select topics that I care about. So I'm interested, in addition to all those topics, I'm also interested in the topic of let's say energy. And then there's a topic that's not on there. I'm also interested in the topic of employment. Let's just add this one. So save and exit, and here we go. So now you can get bills on the topic of employment, and it's a pretty good and a pretty accurate search that will give you an overview of all the bills on a particular topic. but that's not all of it. That's basically all. That's basically all you need to do to stay updated on bills. Because from now on, after you've selected the topics that you're interested in, you will get a daily or weekly email update about everything that is happening. You can see the sponsors, you can see what the bill is about, you can see the latest action, and you can read the text of the bill. And in addition to that, you're interested in a particular one, you click on it, and what you'll get is the official bill summary, and you can also leave some comments on bills. You can also directly contact your legislator, just like that. So let's say we contact Stacey Newman and send it on a sheet. Here we go. So, and yeah, I can just message them. It's similar to Facebook Messenger. If I'm interested, I can also leave comments here. And if I'm interested in a certain bill, then I can also put it into my tracked bills, and that's what this looks like. And in my tracked bills, those are the bills that I'm explicitly very interested in, and I can leave a comment, or I can also share it on my website or blog, and then people who visit my blog will see what bills I care about and what I recommend people do about those bills. So here I've left the comment that people should call their senators, for example. Another cool thing I can do is, so here you have comments on bills, and say I really like this comment, so I want to send it directly to a legislator, just like that, and then I can send it to whoever I want. I can also say that I'm a constituent in your district, if I am, and send it like just like that. And by this time you're probably asking yourself, so how is this supposed to make money? There are several ways, but let me show you the way. Let me show you one of the ways that I strongly favor at the moment. So this website is up and running in all 50 states, and the federal version is coming up soon. But we also want to develop a premium version that will be more of an interest to companies or lobbying groups, because you know, artificial intelligence has been applied to all kinds of problems in our society, but in this particular space of legislation, this is a space of Excel spreadsheets, low tech, and we want to provide some advanced insights that will be interesting to professionals in this space. So, for example, who is the most influential legislator that might sponsor my bill? I can go through the voting records, see who might sponsor my bill, and I can also go and see who was the most effective one, who got the most things done, and approach this person. Which committee should a bill that I'm interested in, which committee should it be referred to? So which committee is most likely to support my bill? Who will be the swing voters among the representatives? And who do I need to meet and talk to in order to sway them one way or the other? And in addition to this, we have a database of all the legislation from all the past years, from all the 50 states, and there's a lot of cool things that I haven't even thought of that professionals can do with all this information. They will be able to see how bills spread across states, for example. They'll be able to access all the voting records there are in all the states. And let me show you just how much money we think can be made with this. So bill tracking websites which provide very basic functionality, more basic than the free version of FastDemocracy that you saw right now. Those bill tracking websites charge up to $20,000 per customer per year. Obviously, it's a space where there are millions and billions of dollars, and where companies don't want to lose on legislation, because if some legislation they don't want gets passed, then they lose millions, if not billions. And yeah, so yeah, professional sites are at a price point of $20,000-ish per year, and with all these artificial intelligence functions that have never been done, I believe that we would have the most advanced lobbying website in a multi-billion-dollar market, while at the same time also providing the free service for the education of the general public and for helping them stay on top of legislation. So my challenge to you is, I mean, you saw yourself at which stage we are right now. The free version is pretty good. The paid version is not built yet, and I would need some funding to build this paid version. And my challenge to you is, how do I get basically what are the funding sources? What people should I meet with, and who could be interested in something like this? Thank you very much.
Hey, who wants to start with our fabulous, always fabulous question asking? Come on. All right.
Can you, let's just talk about your competition a little bit more. Well, I have a couple questions actually. One, what's your primary data source, and how are things going with the standardization of data across the states? And two, what do the competitors look like?
Yes, so the standard data source at the moment is Open States, who have an API, but I'm moving away from that. So yeah, they've standardized data across all 50 states. I'm moving away from that for many different reasons, and now I'm at a point where I'm improving the data quality and where I'm also running my own servers. And yeah, the big thing that I'm working on is doing the same framework, but doing it for the US Congress as well, such that people also get federal bills. And my competition is, I guess, so there are no services like this that are free for that are free for regular people. Those services, yeah, for one state they typically are at 1,000. For all 50 states, they're at 20,000. And the competition that I'm thinking of would be LexisNexis, GovTrack, BuildTrack 50. They're all relatively similar, and they they charge something like $1,000 per state, typically, with no free service or a very limited free service that essentially would make you just as efficient as regular people, just as inefficient as private people as the legislator website. So yeah.
Do you currently have a user base for the free service?
Yes.
What's it look like?
So, well, I'm promoting it mostly within Missouri right now, and I talk to activist groups. Right now I'm at about 60 people, but we should also know that right now the Missouri legislature is just not in session. So I'll just keep promoting it, and I'll keep growing the user base. But right now we're at about 60 people. Yeah.
What are your means of promoting?
Pardon?
What are your means of promoting your marketing?
At the moment, it's mostly directly talking to activist groups and trying to get the word out. Yeah, I also did some experiments with Facebook advertising, but to be honest, I need to get better about that. Yes.
So I'm hearing a lot of I am. Do you have a management team, or what is Fast Democracy? Is that just you, or who is involved in this?
Good question. I should. Okay, so Fast Democracy is 3 people. That's my wife, who works in the legislative sector and who is my connection to reality when it comes to all this, who makes sure that all the features that they implement are actually useful to people who work with this. And I'm the techie person, and there is a friend of mine who is also a great techie person. I shouldn't be saying but basically I was the one who is working on the front end and who did a lot on the back end as well. But we are growing, and soon it's not justified to say the way I'm doing it, and it will be even more of a we as we go forward.
So I'm looking at your site, and one way to make money would be obviously to charge for your services. What could you do to your site to change, or what do you plan to add to make it so that people don't just use the free version?
So so for regular people, you should use the free version. But if you're a lobbyist or if you're a big advocacy group, then I think you will be interested in features like prediction, who will be a swing vote, who should I target, and who should I meet with and discuss how we can get a bill passed. Another thing that no one has done, and that many lobbyists are actually very keen on knowing, is how do bills spread across the different states. This is something we don't even know yet. We know that there are organizations like ALEC which introduce the same bill across many different states, but we don't know the exact path of how they are doing it, and we don't even have a good way of identifying whether a bill is an ALEC bill. And you should also know that many legislators hate ALEC. So if people knew what bills are ALEC bills, then there would be a way of stopping them. So things like these could be paid services that people are keen on.
Do you need more advocacy groups to give you feedback, or because I'm thinking press clubs, the ACLU, the League of Women Voters. I mean, have you talked to these folks already?
I've talked to the ACLU, absolutely. My wife is actually from the ACLU, so that was an easy connection. I have not talked to journalist groups. If you have suggestions on how to reach out to them, I would love that. So education and journalism are the two areas where we are doing very poorly right now, and where we would need to get the word out a bit more.
Love what you're doing.
Thank you.
Is there a way to tell which are the hot topics?
Which are the hot topics?
Like, is there a way to tell how many of these topics have been accessed or commented on?
Not at the moment, no. I guess this will be more of a feature for once there is a thriving community. At the moment, it's a bit too small for that, but I completely agree that this would be very interesting, and there needs to be something that shows trending bills and or trending topics as well.
So obviously this is unique because the general public can use it, but what are the biggest things that set you apart for your premium version from other companies that people are paying for?
Well, mostly the artificial intelligence aspects of it, and the advanced analytics like swing votes or accessing all the voting records. This is So imagine the premium packages that are there right now as what I'm giving away for free to everyone. What would set it apart, in my opinion, is using all this data to analyze it and to provide insights and to provide predictions on how it might turn out with a bill, basically.
Congratulations on getting this far with the free product. That was great. I think just a suggestion in terms of resource is, I don't know if you may have looked at Code for America and what they do. A lot of the way that they approach things is actually to take government data and bring it back to government who may have had a bill to do open data but don't actually have the tools to access it themselves. So potentially lobbyists, I would suggest, are there actually government organizations that might be interested in using this as well?
I hope so, yeah. There were actually a couple government organizations that have signed up with this, and I've also been meeting state legislators, and they say, hey, this is so much easier than using the Missouri legislator website. I'll be using it. So that's a great suggestion. I have not heard of Code for America actually, and I'll look into that.
I guess my question is, how are you getting your data inputs? What I mean by that is, are you going to be getting as granular as this representative is 55% on this, but he, on this issue, but if it happens to involve, dogs or something like that, all of a sudden it becomes 85% or something like that. How are you, how granular are you getting on both individuals and as well as blocks of representatives, and where are you getting all of that information? Because you could really go down a rabbit hole, very quickly.
Right. So I guess that's a tough question, because all the artificial intelligence stuff has not been implemented yet. So I don't know how granular it can be. What can be done is I can relatively easily determine whether a bill is a very partisan one or not. Super easy if the same bill has been introduced in a different state and voted on, or if it has been introduced in Missouri last year and voted on. Another thing that I could do is I can look at sort of key features of a bill and see how a representative has voted on a bill with similar key features, similar keywords. There are different kinds of legal language, and say a Republican will often use a slightly different language for their bill than a Democrat. So in the end, it would be an analysis of key features, keywords. It would be an analysis of donor data that will determine how.
Well, and the reason why I ask is because lobbyists are only going to be interested if they can turn this into actionable items, if they can apply either their own pressure or social pressure to people. And so kind of knowing, okay, well, it's great, he thinks about it this way. I mean, lobbyists are going to want to know pressure points. They're going to want to know how they can be effective in that, and then people would pay for that. And so I think that's kind of where your goal might be.
Yeah. The other thing that I don't want whatever algorithm there will be for the prediction, I don't want this to be a black box. I want people to see those are the relevant bills that they voted on, and a lobbyist can go ahead and have an overview of everything in that space that they voted on, and also make up their own mind about how a certain vote might go with this representative. At the moment, they don't even have a way of accessing voting records in a very good way. So just to let you know, in Missouri, all the voting records is hidden in PDF files, which is a ridiculous format if you're trying to figure out. I'm interested in the topic of immigration. How has this representative voted on immigration? Even those basic things are incredibly difficult, and for every immigration bill and for every day of the session you would need to go and read the PDF file. What I am doing for you is there's a computer reading every single PDF file there is and extracting every single vote there ever was, and it will be a matter also of categorizing it and making it accessible.
We have a couple more questions back here, and then we'll wrap it up.
Your market that you seem to be going to is lobbyists and activists. Have you considered schools? I know
Absolutely.
that Missouri requires a government course for all high school students, so it might be another way for you to market and get people to sign up for a premium version if a student has to do a project.
Absolutely, or even with the free version, I would love to go into the education sector, and I think this could be a way of learning about the government that is relatively accessible and much better than just doing some theories. This gives people the opportunity to interact with the legislator. It gives them the opportunity to stay updated on topics that they care about. So I would love to get into that space. I have some contacts. I wish I had more contacts, but I would love to present at schools, talk to teachers.
I'm a social studies teacher, and having taught social studies in Missouri and California, I will say that you are entirely right. The difficulty, I think it's actually intentionally made difficult to find out what's actually going on through the state websites and things like that. So I think this is a huge boon for education as well. What I was wondering about is, have you thought about using all this, when you get all this data for these searches, is possibly finding some way to monetize by selling that information back to political campaigns or things like that, so people can say, hey, here are the hot button issues right now, and you're saying that. Once again, I don't know the rules or anything allowed by that, but I would guess that you're going to get a very deep, rich cache of data that you're going to be creating through your through FastDemocracy.com. So I didn't know if you looked at that direction as well as that, valuing these great lists that you're creating.
So this is something to think hard about because, especially in this particular space, many people feel uncomfortable if their user data gets sold. And I actually have in my FAQs clearly stating that I will not sell your user data or anything like that. However, what campaigns could do, for example, and this is another way of monetizing it, you could follow a certain issue, or you could follow a certain politician. Say you, name any politician. There is Nancy Pelosi, Paul Ryan, whatever. So say they want you follow them, like you follow them on Twitter, and you see what issues they care about, and they can also message you about what they think should be your next actions, and in this way you can build a user base, and you can build a base of people who are interested in politics and who might get out to campaign for you, or who might just call the legislators. So yes, so providing a messaging platform for this would be another area of monetization.
All right, so thank you for an excellent presentation. I enjoyed it. But quick question about the premium. Have you determined what your first addressable market is going to be, or what the first vertical you're going to focus on for the premium use?
Yes. So we are in touch with a big lobbying firm, and we will be developing the premium version with the suggestions that they have. Yeah, I think if we do it right, then they would be our first customer, and we would go from there. Another good thing about this space is that people are incredibly keen on winning on legislation, and losing on legislation is a matter of millions or billions of dollars. And if there is some tool that even has the potential of increasing the chances of them winning on legislation by 5% or whatever, then they are very happy to pay the $20,000 for this particular tool. It's much cheaper than any alternative.
That's why I was going to strongly suggest healthcare if you didn't have one picked out already. It's been quite a bit in that region.
Well, you did not disappoint. Thanks for all the great questions, and thank you,
Absolutely.
Anatolij,
Thank you.
for cheering.